Hi, I'm Robert Wiesenmuller, and you're listening to SimNews.TV.
Hello and welcome to Parker's Pitstop. Today I've got someone who is from the lovely land of Germany and is starting to make waves in the sim racing world, but in a bit of a different way to most people. His name is Robert Wiesenmuller. Say hello, Rob.
Hello.
So, like I said, you're starting to make the waves in the world of sim racing, but in a different way. So, you are a moderator over at RaceRoom with the eWTCC, which if not people many know. Would you like to explain it a little bit?
Yeah, well, the eSports WTCC, it's a sim racing championship that's supported directly by the World Touring Car Championship. And we are streaming 10 online races on the YouTube channel of the WTCC. And we're also, actually today, we're going to stream a race which is live from the track. And in the end, we will make a final event, like a LAN event for sim racers. Yeah, and I'm the organizer and the commentator of this championship.
Wow, so like I said, quite a big role you've got there. How did you get involved in that? Where did that all begin?
Well, it started off last year when I qualified for another RaceRoom event at the ADAC GT Masters, the German National GT Championship, and they invited the 10 fastest drivers from a hot lap competition to the track at Hockenheim. And they invited me, and I went to the event and I participated in the event as a driver. And there were certain things that I wasn't really happy about, the way how the event was run. So I just complained. And because I finished university around about at the same time, I said, well, I can do it as well. And so we started talking. Like at first, it couldn't really find any terms that we're both happy with. But eventually, when the league with the WTCC came up, we agreed on something, and then I started working. RaceRoom.
Wow, so that's a pretty unique way of finding a way of running a championship. But yeah, so how do you think your input, obviously with being a sim racing for a long time now, how do you think your input has helped them like learn how the esports work and all that?
I think they wanted to involve into the esports scene a little bit, or also just the competitive sim racing scene for quite a bit. But it's a big step, especially when for RaceRoom, a lot of the people who are doing the on-site events, they're very familiar with running events and being involved in real motorsports and so on, but they're not exactly sim racers. So there's just certain things that are like the standard in the sim racing world that they just never experienced themselves. So in order for them to run a really good sim racing league, I think they needed to get someone who has a lot of experience in sim racing and who can give them the right input. And I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And so it's me in the end. And I think it's a good thing for the league that you have like on the one hand people who are experienced with motorsports and events working on it, but on the other hand experienced sim racers.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you get a sim racer running a sim racing league for someone as big as an organisation such as WTCC, I think that's going to benefit everybody really. What other sim racers have you got involved with you working on the eWTCC? Is there anyone else that other people may know from the sim racing world?
Well, there's Lewis McGlade, who is making the highlight videos. Of course, he raced in GPVWC as well before in TPS, so I've raced a lot of races with him, and we actually organized a league together back in the day, the Top Step Racing League, so it was just like a logical thing that he gets involved. Then there's Mike Bell, who's in a very special role that I cannot reveal, but he's doing something in the background. There's Georg Ortner, who is my teammate in my current team that I race for. He's working for the development studio, Sector 3 Studios, and he's actually helping me with like making the videos and doing some graphics and so on. And of course, there's James Kirk, who's the other commentator.
So there's quite a few names that we know from the sim racing world, like I said, GPWC, TPS, quite a few leagues out there that a lot of people know. What are the races like? What I mean, obviously, I'm not sure if many people have seen the leagues, and I myself haven't had time to watch one. What's the racing like? Is it like, cause like you said, it's not a sim that everyone knows about Race Room. Is it good close racing, or can there be a bit argy-bargy sometimes?
Well, it's touring cars, front wheel drive, WTCC, front wheel drive touring car league, and so the racing is extremely tough. Um, for the first round, we had almost 3,000 people trying to qualify. So a lot of people have heard of the league, and also a lot of sim racers that might be familiar, you might be familiar with, or the regular viewers here might be familiar with that come from GPVWC, like Gergo Baldi, for example, is in the championship as well. So Yeah, quite a few high caliber names in the league, and the racing, it's been tough, a couple of incidents, but overall it's been good. We had 2 rounds so far, 4 races, and yeah, had to hand out a couple of penalties, but all in all, I think it was pretty good.
Well, so, I mean, that's good then. Nice to hear that the league is going well and it's rather clean, which is really good. I mean, 3,000 people qualifying, that's not exactly a small number. So I think that's pretty shows that it's going for quite a good period and it's quite successful at the moment. Where do you think this championship can lead to? Do you think this will lead to more championships, such as maybe even F1 or even F2, the FIA getting involved? Do you think that'll lead to them getting involved in esports in the future?
Well, I mean, there has been other championships other real life championships who've been trying to get into the esports. The Formula E is probably the most famous one. Now there's a new McLaren project. But also in RaceRoom, we have a different championship running at the same time, together with AMG Mercedes, where they race in the DTM cars, and it's streamed live on the Mercedes Facebook. So, a lot of racing leagues and manufacturers are just trying it out. And I think it's one of the big advantages that sim racing has compared to other esports. Maybe the player base is quite a bit lower at the moment, but you've got the same thing in real life, something like Counter-Strike or League of Legends, they don't have that. I mean, they are their own thing, but here you already have working championships, you've got sponsor relationships, and all the stuff that is already there, and now you just expand it to a different field, and you can combine two things. So I think it's a great opportunity for the sim racing to grow, and it's a great opportunity for these manufacturers and real life championships move into the esports scene, into the gaming scene a little bit more than they have done so far.
Absolutely, I agree with you there. And like I said, a bigger audience, better sim races, and the quality can only get better. Let's concentrate on you now, because obviously you are a sim racer yourself. You've been around for quite a few years. Where did it all begin for you?
Well, played racing games pretty much my whole life. My dad had Geoff Crammond's GP2, I think it was called, back in the mid 90s. And this was the first time that I played it, and I think we had a joystick also. I think I played with the joystick, but I was a little kid, and this was the first time I drove like a racing game, and I've viewed the racing on TV my whole life. And the first game that I really started playing myself regularly was Toka 2 with the BTCC cars, but back then I was also still a little kid, so I wasn't really serious. Then I got the F1 challenge. That was fun. Downloaded a few mods, but I always drove offline. And I think in 2006, Race, the WTCC game, came out from Simmin, and that was the first one that I bought to play online. And yeah, since then after a couple of months I joined the league, and then it all started kicking off.
So you've been around since about 2006 online. Now. That's quite a long time. 8 years. No, 9 years this year. So no, wait a minute.
It's not
11. I'm
11, yeah.
terrible. My maths obviously isn't my strong point at today. But yeah, so 11 years obviously makes you quite experienced. How much success have you had in like championships? I know you obviously. I'd like to say you're quite a quick driver. You're respected in some of those leagues. How have you found racing in the past? Have you found leagues that you're fond of? Have you found leagues that you don't like? Have you found people that you get on with, teams, drivers, etc.?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I made a couple of friends, also made a couple of enemies over the years. Um, Biggest league for me was Touring Pro Series. It was my main league for several years, and I started off in race department, or it wasn't even race department at the time, and I'm a bit old, so that was before race department was founded, but it was run by the same people, by Bram Henschefeld and so on. That's where I started off, and then like eventually I took a couple small breaks and so on, and eventually like in 2012 or so I found my way into TPS, Touring Pro Series, where they only race touring cars, which is what I love, and that was my main league yeah, for the whole time pretty much, for like the 4 years that it still ran before it eventually died. And I managed to win 3 driver championships there. Of course, I tried out all the other leagues as well. I drove in GPVWC with, I would say, not the greatest success. Um, I drove in race department again, and recently I drove in the German championships at Virtual Racing. So yeah, I've been around quite a bit.
Yeah, I just love free drivers' championships. Nothing to sniff at, especially in TPS. Obviously, not around anymore on a hiatus, I believe. But obviously, Toby Davis and co. at THR, they did a very good job of running it. Do you reckon you'll see them back in the future, or do you think maybe their time is up now, like you said?
You mean TPS or
Yeah,
Toby Davis
TPS.
as a
Sorry,
driver?
yeah, TPS. Yeah.
I think TPS is dead, and it didn't die a honorable death, honorable death, unfortunately. Yeah, we had a few issues there. Ryan, the guy who ran the league, did a fantastic job over several years, but I think he kind of lost the interest in running the championship in the end. And so we had the championship on RaceRoom actually with WTCC as well, which started off really great, and then like throughout the season he just kind of stopped doing anything for the league, and um, yeah, then it just died. We don't have the final results. We don't. There's nothing ever really happened to close this league, and now the Facebook page from TPS disappeared, and Ryan kind of disappeared, and I don't think it will come back.
I mean, it's a shame because, like I said, it was one of the top touring car leagues. I mean, you had some great drivers in there. Like I said, Toby Davis, one name I mentioned, and Ryan himself wasn't exactly a bad driver. So it is a shame. Fingers crossed we'll see Ryan back in the future. And sadly, that's just the way it goes. Maybe real life comes into play,
Yeah.
other things happen, and sadly, things do get pushed by the wayside. Speaking of teams,
Mhm.
you've driven for quite a few teams
Yeah.
in your career. Is there one that have had a good effect on you? Is there one that you've learned a lot from more than other teams, maybe?
Well, I drove for a lot of teams, but a lot of the teams that I drove for, that was kind of like, one-off things, or like in GPVWC, you always need to have a team just to get a spot on the grid. So I just signed up for a random team. And I had like 4 main teams in my sim racing career. The first one was RPM. That was a team with Bram Engeveld and Rami Kaukola, and like a lot of these guys are not known anymore in the sim racing scene. I guess everyone knows Bram from Race Department, but the other guys, I mean, that was 10 years ago when I joined the team. James Johnson was on the team as well. And yeah, I've been in that team for a long, long time, but it was not so serious, We weren't really like practicing together, not working on the setup so much, or at least I wasn't. And I was in the team, and it was a good time, but I didn't learn so much. And then in, I think, late 2012, I joined THR, and that was probably the biggest team that I drove for. This is the team with Toby Davis, Chris Butcher, Jesper Torborg, and all these guys. And funny story actually, when Toby messaged me, he didn't really want me as a driver. He pretty much said to me, you can come to the team because you can organize stuff, you can know how to do liveries, you know how to run a team and so on. But he didn't really think I was a good driver. But that motivated me so much that I really, started picking up everything, started learning about the setup, started learning about how to drive properly. And yeah, I got really successful. And then in at the end of I think it was 2015, I left THR because that was when Toby was pretty much retired, and Jesper left the team, and Chris wasn't doing so much anymore. And I joined a German team called M Technology, for which I drove yeah, for about 1 year in the German scene. It was quite fun. And then this team disbanded as well. And then we started a new team called Impact Racing, for which I drove pretty much until now. But since I'm organizing a league now, and I can't be like in the team running a team when this team is still driving the league, so I kind of took a step back, and now I'm not really, driving so much anymore. But yeah, these were the 4 teams. I think the biggest influence on my sim racing career was from THR, because that's when I started becoming a good driver.
Yeah, absolutely. THR are a big team. Obviously, quite a few teams within TPS, and I think they did move to GPWC at one point. Very
Yeah.
successful there as well. So yeah, learning a lot from them. That's brilliant. Actually, you just led on to my next question. Actually, with your saying how you didn't have time with driving anymore. So you're not going to be driving in any leagues yourself this year, or will you be solely concentrating on helping out eWTCC, on helping their rise in the esports world?
Well, I will still drive one championship, the German WTCC League at Virtual Racing. It's not quite as big as the eSports WTCC, but obviously I can't drive in the league that I commentate on. But because I know the cars now so well from the official league, and I did like beta testing, I did hot lap videos for each track and so on, and I've driven the cars quite a lot already, and now I feel like I learned so much, and it's kind of a shame if I don't drive anywhere. So I signed up for the German WTCC Championship, and I just hope I have time to do all the races. I think I can fight for the championship, but yeah, it always depends on what's happening. I've never been so busy. I've been like pretty lazy recently. I've just been in university, but I spent a lot of time sim racing, so I always had enough time to do laps. And yeah, now this changed. Now I have a lot of stuff to do, and yeah, it gets a bit harder to find the time to really prepare.
Absolutely, and obviously, if you've got to run a league, such an important one as well, such as the WTCC, you're not gonna find yourself with time to practice and fulfill your potential. Do you think you could maybe have a one-off appearance, sorry, in the eWTCC this year, or do you think that's definitely a closed book, not going to happen?
Oh, that's definitely not going to happen because when you do when I do the live streams, it's not really limited to commentating. Like otherwise, you could say, okay, maybe you're gonna commentate from the car, and James is doing the rest of the commentary. But I also have to, do all the administrative stuff. I have to start a stream. I have to do the cameras as well and the overlay display. So it's just not possible that who else is gonna do it then? We need another person to bring onto the stream, and so I can't drive. And the other thing is also that in the past we always had it that the admins are driving in their own leagues, and I think that's fine when it's like a small league that is more community based. But if you have a league which is officially supported by the game and which is officially supported by a real championship, I don't think you can have that anymore. And I think, I mean, it's ring car racing as well. I don't want to take out anyone who's running for the championship. If I'm organizing the league, I think it would just cause a lot of unnecessary drama. So I won't drive in the league.
It's a shame, but absolutely, you're right. If you take someone out, it would be a big boo-boo. We'll go on to one more question then, one last question. What's your dream for this moderating and for this eWTCC? What would you like to fulfill in your career, as it were? What would you like to see happen in the sim racing world as a result of this eWTCC?
Well, first of all, personally, for me, it has already worked out because I've been picked up by RaceRoom and I'm now, really working for RaceRoom. This is not like a one-off. Also, so I've been, I'm part of the team for the future, and we already started the AMG Championship as well. So personally, for me, the the dreams already came true. But for the sim racing itself, I just want to, have it in a position where it's like, where you don't really have to explain what is sim racing, because right now, like when you ask people, when people ask you what do you do in your free time, you say sim racing, everyone is like, what is that? I've never heard of it, or they think it's something geeky and stupid. And what I want to achieve is that the sim racing just, grows to, to something that is respected in the world of gaming, in the world of motorsports. And I think in order to do that, we have to there's several things that need to be done, but one of the things that needs to be done is that we have good professional competitive championships that are, with the production value that are rivaling like real motorsports leagues, and then are getting really, really professional from the whole organization, from the broadcast, from the stewarding, from the from the whole presentation. And I think this is what I want to be working on the most, to get sim racing to a level where it really gets respected and where it's where it's a hobby that everyone can be proud of and that everyone knows, because we all love sim racing, and I just want to share this love to the world,
Absolutely, and I think that's a brilliant part in common, really. Like you said, a lot of people from sim racing think, who hear about sim racing think, oh, it's a bit geeky, a bit rubbish. But no, I think championships like the one you're running and Formula E ran, I think actually people are respecting sim racing more. People are opening their eyes to it, going, actually, yeah, this is quite good. These people are talented. These people are maybe not athletes, but they're e-athletes. So yeah, I think absolutely what you're doing is a brilliant job. And actually, Rob, I think you should be congratulated on doing such a good league. So well done to you. And yeah, I think we'll leave it there for today. Thank you very much, Rob, for coming along and speaking to me today.
Yeah, no problem, and thank you for taking the time.
That's no problem. So this has been Parker's Pitstop on SimNews.TV. If you want to see some more on our schedule, pop onto our Facebook page, SimNews.TV, or go to our YouTube channel. I've been Tom Parker, and this has been Parker's Pitstop. Thank you very much for listening.